What part of acting do you love?
This might sound a bit strange, but I love the ability to trick my body and others into experiencing something real that isn't real. So, getting the chance to go somewhere in a safe way emotionally, does that sounds very broad. I just love the that you can experience all spectrums of things just with your imagination, essentially, and a bit of mind trickery and good delivery and affecting someone's breath or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I love the kind of the spectrum that it gives in a very safe way. I think that's what I love, and sharing that with other people. It feels very exciting to be able to do that. Yeah.
And
Is that a
this,
wanky answer? I don't know.
no, not at all. But I'm curious the effect that you're talking about, because you mentioned your own body and an audience.
Yeah.
Is it the shared experience of we're all investing in this world we're creating, and you're coming along for the ride? So is it the shared experience? Is it the effect
Yeah.
that you're having on maybe a scene partner, or that the scene partner is having on you, or that you're having on an audience, or is it all
Yeah,
of those things?
yeah, it's all of that. Yeah, it is a shared experience, and it's sort of like surrendering to imagination. I mean, it is literally child's play, isn't it? It's everyone agreeing we're all pretending we're doing this,
Hmm.
and when adults do that, that's just mint. That's just great, and and yeah, allowing, like, it's obviously acting isn't therapy, but it's very therapeutic. It's very healing to let your body, whether it's, deep grief or ecstatic joy, like, to allow your body to go to those places organically. Your body doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. So if your body's experienced something physically, it's your cognitive brain that says this is real pain, or this is, danger. Or so in that way, that's why I say it has to be a safe practice. But at the same time, like, that's, you get to experience the shades of living, and your body doesn't know any different. What you do feel isn't fake, isn't pretend. It's very very real. And, like, how cool to call that your job. And yeah, share that with other people, like. And that's why, I do think actors and creatives have bonds with their co-workers, as it were, that are way deeper than,
Hmm.
you know Bob and Greg sitting next to each other in IT. Like, it's very innate human stuff that you get to do together, and that's very special. So yeah, that's what I love about acting. I think it's a proper, and it's playing. You get to be silly, and yeah, I love that. I love that.
I love the rehearsals. I think that's fantastic.
Hmm.
Rehearsals, and then after the rehearsal, because I mean, rehearsals you're playing, aren't you? I hate learning words, and therefore I try and get that out of the way as quickly as possible. But then it's fun doing the rehearsals. But the other bit is when you hit that watershed moment. When you're doing your show, you play the first 4 or 5 performances. You've got the lines in your head. You're concentrating on getting the lines. But there comes a certain performance. I don't know how many shows in it is, or how long it is, but you don't have to think anymore about the words. They're there.
Yeah.
And from then on, then you can start playing again. So it's those 2 moments, really, the beginning and that part of it. And that part of it is when it can so easily go wrong, because you're not thinking anymore about the words. You're thinking about what you're doing, what the other people are doing, and all that sort of thing, and reacting. So, yeah.
What I love about acting is the storytelling aspect of it. It's the creation aspect of it. I have a friend who was a mutual friend of the late Carol Channing. His name is a gentleman named Chip Defoe, who I worked with in New York. But he said that one of his favorite quotes from Ms. Channing before she passed away was, she said, "Create something new every day." And I thought, oh yeah, that is something that I need to live by. I do need to. And again, that's exactly what you and I are doing with the work you and I are doing right now. Um, so those are the big things. Initially I had the same sort of addiction to it that a lot of people have. I loved hearing the applause. I loved the feedback that I got from people. But again, at an early age, a lot of that was because, again, I was awful at sports. I wasn't good in school. I did not have a lot of things that people could sort of cheer me on with. And so that pull of theater, that allure of theater, it's like, oh man, not only is this really good fun, but I'm actually really good at this too. I think everybody needs something like that in their life. There's something that everybody's good at. If you can find that and find passion in it, doesn't matter what industry it's in, that's hugely important. And so I think that's still the main reason I do it. I do well in it, and I've been trained to do well in it, and it's nice to do something that you feel like you fit into, and that it doesn't matter. I've got relatives who are carpenters, who are builders, and they do that like it's a sixth sense, and they love it, and they love doing it, and they wouldn't want to do anything else because they found something that they love. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's the main reason. It's like I said, I also like how theater and the arts can inspire people and can educate people, and it's always nice to be a part of something like that that helps change lives, or that helps inspire people in their daily lives. And let's face it, at the end of the day, that's really all we do as artists. We are storytellers, and we make life worth, entertainment is what sustains us as human beings. It's not, we all need to eat, we all need to work, we all need to breathe, but when you're not doing that, then what do you do? We have to, we tap back into our ancient roots, and we all just sort of sit around a fire and we just tell stories to each other. Anything we do is just variations of that, isn't it? Really?
So why do any of us do it? Why?
That's what I'm looking to learn.
Why do we do it? There's so many things, like I don't know, understanding a character. Like, I love getting a script and you're just thinking, okay, why are they doing this, or why are they like this, or why are they friends with this person? Or it's kind of like you become like a psychologist as well, don't you? Like, I really like that analytical aspect with characters, and maybe that's why I've moved into writing a bit more, because that's what I love about writing as well, of like, why do people do what they do? And I love as well, not solely just the acting, but making things, like just talking to you about the short film, like making things happen, getting a team together that all want to be involved. Is just, yeah, it's like nothing else really. That sounds really cheesy, but yeah, you're making your own thing, and yeah, just love it. I don't really know why I love it, Ed.
I think it's the fact that you can't do it alone. That there's always other people you're working with, or people that you're doing it for. And when you realize that, that's really nice.
I love that. That's brilliant. That's the best answer I've had to that question.
Yeah.
So it's the collaboration.
Yeah. In other words.
No, that's brilliant.
Oh, I'd say pretty much all of it. It's such a, how many years? 21, 22 years have been such a fascinating ride. And even those moments where you get a phone call from your agent and an email with details about a self-tape or audition, it's like, oh yes, it's an opportunity, it's a chance to have a crack at something, give your spin on the scene. If it's an in the room meeting, which has become a little bit rarer these days, it's meeting someone new or catching up with someone perhaps that you've met at an audition before. And even though that is scary, the nerves and the adrenaline do kick in, it's still great because it's such an important part of it. I always feel that when you've something like that is a win.
Yeah.
You've been subbed for so many different jobs, and when a call comes in, it's like, yeah, I'm in the room, or I'm on the self-tape. I'm in the mix. That's good. And so when the job, if you nail the job at the end of the day, then that's just a bonus to it. There's so many bits of this life that make it brilliant.
Oh, wow, that's a really good question. I think it's the storytelling and connection. I think it's connecting with other people through storytelling. Like I said before, understanding now that I'm autistic, probably autistic, is really helpful, because actually there are parts of like social and personal development that I didn't have problems with, but I do think I really had to like learn a lot about people to be able to relate to lots of different people. Like I used to find it quite, sometimes I'd be like, oh, there's obviously a rule going on here, but I don't know what the rule is and I did it wrong. be like some, and I've got 3 kids, and one of our teenagers often texts their dad and just says, Dad, can you tell me how to people? Like, help me, I need to people today. And he's like, oh yeah, in this case do this. And they're like, oh great, that worked. But it is like, it's learning another language really, when there are some things that neurotypical people do that you don't understand, or there are like societal kind of norms, as well as I realize as well that actually culturally, often because my mum, I'm from working class on one side, there's quite a lot of the Jamaican upbringing, even though my granddad wasn't around the whole time. There's actually a lot of like Caribbean upbringing in there, in the way that we are culturally and the way that we relate to each other and stuff like that. So I think for me, when I discovered acting, probably to start with, it's like people who didn't want to talk to you would be like, oh, hey, we saw you on stage in the school play, and like, that was really cool what you did there. And you'd be like, oh, okay, thanks. And then that developed into like, oh, you can actually, like, you can create a whole world, and you can give people this little space to come into where they don't have to think about anything else, and you can make them laugh. Or I think I always erred on the side of wanting to do more comedy, because you've got that immediate reaction, but also because you just know when people laugh, they're feeling good. Like, you're helping people to feel really good, even regardless of what else is going on. So yeah, I think that's, for me, that's the joy of it.
I love you already mentioned this word. I love the presence that it requires of you. And because I'm quite a cerebral person, I'm quite happy in my own company. I'm quite introverted in that way. I'm a quite extroverted introvert, so I love people, but like, I definitely need to recharge on my own. So acting, I think, is great because it helps give me like a bit of a framework for interactions with people. Like, if I'm with other actors, I'm like, oh, there's a level of understanding immediately that I know we have. There's going to be some kind of shared language that I know we both use, or at least can understand. And we both have to, in an ideal world, be present and listening to each other and just hear. And it's a nice way of interacting with the world and interacting with stories, and shutting off all of the chatter for a bit of like the ticking to-do list of all of the things that I do and want to do, and and if I'm acting, I can kind of just turn that off completely and access a different part of myself, because I don't think, obviously you can't ever become somebody else, but I think every character you play, you have to fall in love with that character. And then
without sounding completely cheesy, every character is actually a part of yourself. So you actually fall in love a little bit more with yourself every time you play someone. And you learn a little bit more about yourself and about the people around you and who you're playing with. And that kind of connection and community and, I suppose, empathy and diving in and playfulness and trying things is something that I love, and I think most humans would benefit from a bit more of. And I just feel very lucky that I get to do it as part of my living.
I love exploring character. I love going, okay, like what makes this person tick? What do they hate? What do they love? What do they wear? You know, putting on, I loved finding my character's shoes and like physically going to a charity shop or something and going, those brogues, that's the shoes that Susan wears or whatever. And then being like, you only put those on if you're going to be Susan. And then suddenly, you're suddenly Susan. Just like, tell what I've done there. But yeah, I love that sort of character creation and especially if you're working with directors that give you the freedom to find it yourself, you know. I love that feeling, and this is something I really miss. I love that feeling when you're working with another actor and there is like pure fire between the two of you. Like you can feel there's so much adrenaline pumping in the scene and you're like, fuck, I feel like this could actually go anywhere. Thank God I've learnt my lines, you know? Like it feels a little bit dangerous. And I've had the real privilege of working with some incredibly talented actors that they will give you something different to work with every night and it's never boring. And I remember I was doing a tour with a friend of mine and we had this incredible like duologue, and it was about a woman who had an affair with the other's husband, and they sort of meet in the middle of this bar and it's like head-on tension, and every night it went a different way and we'd come off and go, oh my god, like it just felt so alive, you know. And I love that part about acting. Yeah, I think it really, there's no other way to sum it up apart from feeling more alive than ever going through those moments.
Getting to be someone not myself for a bit. Getting to inhabit someone else for a while, I think, is the best bit. Getting to play pretend.
A psychological holiday.
Literally. I get to have someone else's neuroses for a while. That's great. Forget about my own. Yeah, playing pretend, playing dress up, playing. The play aspect of it. People forget that acting is just playing. It's called a play for a reason. It's fun. It doesn't have to be so serious. You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to give yourself trauma to be an actor. Like you don't have to like go through hell. It's not necessary. Even if you're having a really emotional performance, you can still have fun. It's allowed.
Yeah, I think that gets forgotten, the play aspect, doesn't it? I think sometimes, every now and again, you collaborate with someone who is lost in their own heads, forget it's collaboration, forget that there's an overall story that needs to be told, not just their character story.
Not just, hey, I'm having feelings. Yeah. Look at my feels. Look how good I am at being feeling. Yeah, okay. Cool.
Well, it's fine. It's fine having feelings. I think it's, you know, putting them in the right place and but making sure they don't sort of encroach on someone else's feelings or someone else's
and making sure they tell the story.
Yeah.
Tell the story. Have feelings, but make sure they tell the story.
Yeah.
What are they trying to do? What are you trying to affect in an audience? That's the thing that I'm so keen on, is like, I want to affect an audience in some way. I want to, it's not, so a great friend and a director I've worked with, the best piece of advice that he gave to me and that I now pass on to everybody else is that it's not your job as an actor to feel, it is your job to make the audience feel. That is best thing you can remember as an actor, I
Mm.
think, because it's not necessary for us to have all the feelings as actors. It is necessary for the audience to feel something. Otherwise, they're going to go away thinking that was boring.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to be involved. They're not going to find it engaging, exciting, whatever it is that you want them to feel. I think that's the reason that we do this, to make an audience feel something.
Research.
Okay. You're the first person to have said that. I'm fascinated.
Research. Researching roles, all right, this is acting, this is performance. So, yeah, researching roles, researching ideas, occupation of character I'm playing, research that. It's, if you're going to play a policeman, and I've done, I grabbed an application form from Hendon on becoming a policeman because that's what he would have done. Fill it in, look at it, think about it, questions. And in fact, the questions that they will ask you will be pertinent to whoever the hell you're playing anyway.
Yeah.
So why not? Do that. Little things like that. Find things, speak, research, and then forget it. Let it go. Trust that it's there.
Amazing. That's really. Do you know what? That's really sparked. Like, that's such a brilliant idea. I've never ever thought of that. Like, for any job that your character plays, go and do an application for that job. That's such a brilliant piece of advice.
Why would you not? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's you've got to be. You need the character starts somewhere. Sorry, I'll start again. The character appears on page 1, what have you, or the age that we are now, fine. What have they been doing beyond that, leading up to this point?
Yeah.
You need to do that. You can't just appear, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. No. Do your background, do your homework, research.
I suppose the immediate approach to playing a character is like, it's the story and it's all the emotional points you want to hit, I guess. And do you think maybe actors get too bogged down with that side of it? Maybe looking at a script and going, oh, that's the big scene of this thing, or that's the big moment in this story.
Well, yeah, you get many actors who will look at something and say, oh, I don't want to do that because he hardly ever says anything or hardly ever does anything, or he's got maybe 3 lines over 4 pages. But he's in the scene. He exists. He's doing something. He's real. He's got a history. Fears. Yeah, history. He has fears. He has hopes. He has dreams. As an actor, you need to build every single one of those elements. You do, or when you appear on stage or film or whatever it is that you're doing, it's literally like a sieve. There's so many holes there. It's your job to fill all those holes. Yeah. Every single one. Everyone.
I loved rehearsals.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I think you're like the second person who said that. That's cool.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know that's probably a rogue answer, isn't it? I love rehearsals. I like the process and working things out. Maybe that's testament to the rehearsal processes I've had of like a good room and a good team, and yeah, the trying stuff out, the failing. I quite enjoy the like, oh well, I absolutely messed that up, didn't I? And then picking up and going again. Yeah, rehearsals for me, I think, is the highlight.
That's fair enough. Well, I guess that's where everything all starts. You build your rapport with your company members, and yeah, hopefully, like if you've had it good, then that's great. It's a bit more difficult when you've got the odd ego or people that don't want to collaborate.
Yeah, that getting to know people stage I think is really fun. Like in a short space of time, you know, you learn so much about people because you're constantly making yourself vulnerable in a room.
Yeah, definitely.
I have always loved acting for it being a space where it's safe to have really big feelings. I've always been kind of a sensitive, emotionally volatile kind of person. Maybe volatile is not quite the right word. And theatre is a space to do that in a controlled environment, and it's a space where it's the only space I know of where that level of emotional honesty is applauded.
Wow.
Like literally applauded. I think it's emotions are really hard things, and they're really hard to face up to, and it's such a gift to get on a stage and just really let rip, because there's the safety of knowing that we're under this social contract. You know that I'm not actually yelling at you or like trying to assault you, but also you're reminding the audience, I hope you're reminding the audience that they also have permission to have feelings too.
Yeah, that's a really lovely way of putting it. I've never thought of it like that, I guess. It's not I thought. I suppose it's sort of taken for granted, isn't it? Actually, as from an acting point of view, that you are in a very safe space to emote what you need to emote, and no one's going to question it or judge it. Well, some people will judge it. Some people will not think you're either good or think you're good or bad at emoting. But there's a therapeutic aspect to it, I guess, to the expression of acting. I suppose I've always found it very therapeutic.
Definitely, yeah. And I think natural talent is connected to your ability to tap into your emotions.
The live stuff, the instant reaction. I don't like the film stuff at all. I don't like getting nothing back. We filmed for a month with a movie, and I hated every second of it because I love the people, I love the camaraderie, and I love the social element of it. But I was out of my depth the whole time because I just couldn't. I wasn't hearing that instant sort of reaction back. I love the idea of just doing a show. I love with sort of the most recent show I've been doing. I've been touring the country with it, and the audience getting let in half an hour before the show starts, and I pace around on stage for like half an hour just looking at them, and I love building that suspense. And I'm thinking, is this the show? Is this the show? Has it started yet, or has he just not got a dressing room? What's the deal there? We all like laughter, don't we? We want to make people laugh. But also like structure. So probably going back to some of those album stuff actually, where if that was staged, that must be the best thing ever, because there's more jokes in an average episode of that than your average stand-up show. But also there's a plot to it as well. So yeah.
This is a tough question, man. I love the fact that you never stop learning. I love the fact that like you could still be doing it till the day you die. I love the rehearsal process. If I question why, when I'm saying to you, like, question why you do it, like, I just love making work. I kind of don't care what capacity that is in. Oh god, that's just I don't know. I love it I love the fact that it makes me question. When like the things that I love the most are the things where I leave asking more questions than when I went in.
Keeps you curious, doesn't it?
Yeah. But also, like, you can change opinions, man. Like, I love things that explore the grey.